She is a streamer who runs political talk shows, but the majority of the stream is spent begging and shaming people into giving her money. And it's some of the most pathetic shit I've seen on Twitch. And I've seen a lot of pitiful, sad shit on Twitch. I saw a man finger his butthole for a $20 donation on Twitch, and I
Bro,
still have more
what?
respect for that than I do her. At least him sticking his fingers in his asshole was more fun than all of her streams combined. And somehow him putting nearly his whole fist in his chocolate starfish was still classier than any of this girl's streams. At least he had the decency to not shame the viewers into giving him $20 for sticking fingers up his brown balloon knot. He wasn't on stream going, hello, you broke cheap ass viewers. I'm sitting here with my beautiful asshole goat seat into the camera, and nobody's giving me $20. My speech about giving me $20 and I'll finger my asshole didn't give me any money. What the fuck is wrong with you? He was very simple about it. He's like, you know what, $20 and I'll finger this asshole right here. You don't have to do it, but if you do, I'll fucking finger myself. And that's how it went. She's over here making a whole song and dance about it, making everyone just feel fucking uncomfortable, and she feels so entitled to their money, which she absolutely doesn't deserve. She provides no value whatsoever. You might as well just flush $5 down a toilet. That's more value than giving it to this girl.
Expecting blah blah blah. Like, how are you consuming this free entertainment? Like, how do you think free entertainment is available to you? It's because other people actually provide money so you can be a cheap ass. That's it. Other people provide money
like that, bro. People like that in general.
They're generous, and they see like a thing that they want to support, a form of entertainment they want to support, and then you leech.
What are you talking about?
That's the reality of it. Period.
So what is
period?
YouTube
If you're watching Twitch as a non-donating, non-sub, you are leeching. Does that mean that you should feel bad about it? I don't know. But the reality is that you are leeching.
Such a laughable sense of entitlement, especially when she has no talent at all. Also, she's not making $0 from viewers that watch her for free. Twitch itself places an ad at the beginning of your stream, so when someone clicks on your stream, you're getting money just from that click. And I'm pretty sure she plays ads throughout her streams, which also gets her money from viewers that aren't donating or subbing to her. So I don't know why the fuck she thinks she possibly has the right to complain about not getting an extra $5 from people that either can't afford to or just don't want to because she isn't earning that $5. And she absolutely isn't earning that $5. All she does is insult the chat. She doesn't provide anything at all of value, and I'm pretty sure she hates streaming and only does it to just try and get money out of viewers or guilt them into giving her money, which is super shitty. I'd say 95% of all streamers, myself included, I stream daily on Twitch at twitch.tv/moistcritical. Come stop by if you want to put a few extra inches on your penis. I'd say 95% of all streamers do it just because they love streaming.
How old is this video too?
I know I do. I don't think the majority of streamers are going around just constantly begging for subs and donations, but I know there definitely are a few, her being the biggest culprit, but I'd say the majority of streamers aren't like that.
Chat, I haven't got a donation or a sub for an hour. What the fuck? For an hour? What the fuck?
Yo, this bitch is greedy. Like, what?
An hour when I fucking working for free? What the fuck?
What a horrible, embarrassing perspective for someone to take on something like this. She has the worst possible attitude. I'm not going to go into her disgusting past. She's done a lot of really fucked up shit and said some fucked up shit. But just this perspective of hers that she is so adamant about, where if you are not paying her, you are a piece of shit. She calls you names, she calls you out by your screen name if she sees you're not subbed. She is the most standoffish, unlikable person on that platform. And it's gotta be kind of embarrassing to be a subscriber to this girl because she's openly hostile and doesn't give a fuck about it. Only there to siphon $5 out of your wallet every month because she feels entitled to it, as if you're just holding her money for her because you flip on her stream to fall asleep to it once every 3 months. But yeah, this narcissist is probably the greediest person on Twitch. She's like the Mr. Krabs of streaming, but not nearly as cool as Mr. Krabs because she has a shitty personality, a horrible attitude, and the worst perspective on things on that entire platform.
And the reason why this is getting retweeted and liked so much is because she's an attractive woman who didn't act like a nice person, which is what makes sexually frustrated incels angry. Woman not acting, woman out of her place, me mad.
Yeah, this hero decides to make it an issue about her being a woman, despite the fact that that is irrelevant to why people don't like it. It's because people don't like someone that says shit like that and is that greedy and that
Yeah. Fuck
disrespectful
is
and
he
that
talking
entitled.
about?
It has nothing to do with her being a woman. But this guy's trying to score some of those brownie points. Oh, streamer, please look at me fight for you on Twitter. Please let down your long hair so I may take my $5 and climb up and woo you over. It's also really cute that Mike over here decides to call everyone that disagrees with her perspective an incel when he himself is like the fucking king of incels. Check out his first interaction with the streamer.
That's fine. I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I think I'm getting your attention. I feel like I touched like a vampire touching holy water.
can I help you?
Well, I think they want to go in.
Okay.
Whoa there, Mike. I think you made her a little too wet with that alpha.
This dude is fucking
Himself
weird,
is like
bro.
the fucking king of incels. Check out his
What?
first interaction with the streamer.
That's fine. I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I think I'm getting your attention. I feel like I touched like a vampire touching holy water.
can I help you?
Well, I think they want to go in.
Okay.
Whoa there, Mike. I think you made her a little too wet with that alpha energy. Yeah, man, you've definitely got a lot of room to be tossing the word incel around, huh? With game like that? What a fucking player. Great work, Mike. There are people sticking up for her, of course. Buyer's remorse. They've already paid for the subscription and now they feel like they need to justify it to everyone in the world. Like what you like who you like. It's totally fucking fine. But there's very clear reasons why people don't like what she said that have nothing to do with her being a woman, Mike. It has to do with her attitude and her disrespect and that sense of entitlement that she thinks everyone has to fucking pay her to watch her, and then she guilts them into it and shames them and makes them fucking feel bad and attacks them for it, which is wrong, Mike. It's just fucking wrong and it's shitty. It's a bad look and it's pathetic. But anyway.
People are just weird, bro. Hey, fuck that bitch. That bitch greedy as hell. What am I working for free? Bitch. Aaron, have you ever heard of this? The most evil live stream ever? Ever watched this video right here? I'm not gonna put it on right now, but at some point I will if you have it. Well, fuck, I put it on. Just not all of it.
In the late 90s, a very popular Japanese game show tortured a man for a year and broadcast it every Sunday night. This isn't like reality TV where it's all fake and scripted, not to ruin Christmas for all the believers out there. This was legitimately torturing another human being for the sake of entertainment. And it was extremely popular,
crazy,
averaging
Aaron.
17 million viewers every Sunday night that they'd play the clips. That's absolutely massive, even by today's standards. It's more viewers than the last 4 years of the NBA Finals and the World Series, and obviously more than most television shows get. For reference, The Boys season premiere got around 8 million viewers, and according to YouTuber Atrocity Guide, who also covered this story, the most viewed episode of Game of Thrones got around 16 million viewers, so it even beats that. Just an absolutely massive success, but it doesn't stop there. The producers knew there was still a little milk left in those teats and they wanted to suckle. So they actually turned it from just a weekly broadcast into a full-blown live stream where you could log on online and watch him suffer in real time. So whenever you were just feeling particularly quirky, you could hop in there and watch a man be miserably tortured for the better part of a year. Doesn't that sound like fun? What a great way of starting the day. A nice bowl of cereal and milk for breakfast and watching a man's sanity slowly deteriorate as he dances around naked in absolute agony. Wonderful. This is the story of Nasubi. As I briefly mentioned, another YouTube channel named Atrocity Guide made a great video on this topic, but I wanted to go even deeper. So we, Caleb, Chelsea, and I really did a fucking thorough deep dive, spreading the foul cheeks of this situation wide open, going through live streams, all of the broadcast clips, in order to really get a handle on just how vile this whole thing was. So let's begin. In 1998, a popular Japanese game show named Susanoo Dimpa Shonen held a raffle to find their next contestant for an upcoming show they were working on called A Life of Prizes. Nasubi ended up winning the lottery and was ecstatic. He believed this was going to be a big break for him since he was also an up-and-coming comedian, and he was escorted to a small apartment where he was then instructed to take off all of his clothes in order to participate in the game. The challenge was he would have to survive in this apartment on nothing but his winnings from sweepstakes. They only provided him with water, and he was told that he would not be allowed to leave or communicate with the outside world or have any access to anything that he didn't directly earn through magazine sweepstakes. He was told that he'd need to win 1 million yen, which at the time, 1998, was right around 8,000 US dollars, through only mail-in magazine sweepstakes in order to complete the challenge and be released from the room.
Oh
and
my
yes, this does
God.
include food. They didn't provide him with any food. The only food he'd have access to is the food that he earns through mail-in sweepstakes. It just feels like there were better odds of a bird carrying $10,000 in its mouth crashing through the apartment window than actually earning 10 grand through mail-in sweepstakes. This shit is like something you would actually hear of like fucked up prison guards at Guantanamo Bay doing as like a joke or something. It's so cruel and brutally difficult. But Nasubi did actually pull it off. It took Nasubi 335 days total to finally make enough money to be released from it. Or at least, so you'd think. This is actually only the tip of the iceberg here, but I just want to give you the story in a nutshell. And I also want to explain the name Nasubi, because that's not actually the contestant's real name. His actual name is Tomoaki Hamatsu. The name Nasubi actually means eggplant, and he got this because the producers used an eggplant to censor his genitals for the broadcast, and they also said that his head resembled the shape of an eggplant. The whole point of the
Bro, what? Ew, nigga. That's nasty.
Susanoo Dinpa Shonen broadcast here was to laugh at Nasubi, and people were. 17 million people having an old hoot and a holler, real side-splitting comedy, watching a man be legitimately tortured. Nasubi believed that he was being recorded and that the clips were going to be re-edited and broadcast for TV. So he would come in and like update people on what he's doing, like, I just won this can of cat food, I just won this bicycle, and then he'd like dance around and try and make it entertaining, but he never knew that he was being live streamed the whole time. He was under the impression that it was just going to be moments from the challenge. Not that every excruciating second of this challenge was being broadcast to all of Japan. Extremely fucked situation, and this is just the bare outline of it. What I want to do for this video is actually go through a lot of clips and moments from this live stream and the broadcast, as well as just everything surrounding.
And bro, you have to remember, he has no contact with anybody. The guy that's doing the live stream, the guy that's getting tortured, whatever the hell. Like, you have to remember, he has no contact with nobody.
Surrounding it, because it is so baffling. It is bizarre that this actually.
I mean, besides the fact that he has basically no food either and no clothes. But I'm just saying, like, dude.
Happened. I remember Vsauce did a video on what happens to the mind when you're cut off from stimulation in the outside world for an extended period of time. And unsurprisingly, it is so psychologically damaging to be completely alone and isolated like Nasubi was. And Vsauce only did like a few days. Nasubi did over a year, 15 months total.
なと脱いで
書いていると
はい
誰かが来た、
はい
宅急便、
やった来た
第1号気分フードケミファさんのファイバーゼリー12個入りでございます。
いただきます。
This was Nasubi's first big win, a fat dubski. He was able to secure 12 pots of fiber jelly. I don't know what the fuck fiber jelly is. I've never heard of it in my life. That sounds like a made-up substance in the movie Snowpiercer, but it was huge for Nasubi because it's his first bit of food since this started, so he was extremely hungry and was able to get some nutrients. This wasn't the first thing he applied for, though. The first sweepstakes he was entering were for clothing items. He wanted to cover up, obviously, because being naked is going to be cold, uncomfortable, especially since it's being filmed. So he had applied for an apron first, but he didn't win.
やった！また何か当たったんだ。
はい。お名前出してもらいたいと思いまして。あ、はい、わかりました。はい。
当選か？
まずラーメン。全部で1700円になります。すいません、間違えました。
Obviously, since Nasubi was trapped in isolation, cut off from the rest of the world, he cherished every single knock at that door. It was the only bit of human interaction he gets. So he'd get excited, and of course, he's expecting to win something, since why else would someone be knocking at the door? So he gets really hyped up, like, hey, finally something came that's going to help me get closer to completing this challenge, or maybe it's food and I'm starving. But that wasn't always the case. Like in these two clips here, sometimes it was just fucking cruel, where a postman knocked on his door just to let him know that he needs to put his name on the mailbox or some shit, and then also someone put the wrong address for a ramen delivery, so he couldn't even have the ramen after smelling it. Like, it was just really sad to see.
米か？
でんでねー。
米だ。ナスに米。
お米5キロです。
Finally, it seems fortune's looking up for Nasubi here. He's able to secure 5 kilograms of rice. But then things get heartbreaking when he realizes he has no way of cooking the rice, because he'd need to win a pot from a sweepstakes in order to use it. So he just has 5 kilograms of rice that he can't cook. It's fucking terrible. You know, like, it's a treasure that you can't have. So he gets desperate and he starts resorting to eating the rice raw.
生米をかじる。
お願いします。おかゆにでもちゃんとなってください。申し訳ないですけどね。ちょっとこれは失敗じゃないですか？ちょっと待って。ちょっと待ってよこれ。
実験成功。
見て。
Unable to continue eating the rice raw, Nasubi knew he needed to find some way to cook it, so he went full fucking Jimmy Neutron here. He hatched an idea to put the rice into one of the jelly fiber containers, and he put hot water in it, left it out overnight, hoping to make it somewhat cooked. As you can see in the clip, he said, even if it's gruel, just make it into something. It didn't work at all. So he came up with another plan to put it in the fiber jelly container, put it in the hot water, and set it next to the gas burner, so that way it would kind of cook it by proxy. And this worked. It was able to cook the rice, and now he had an efficient way of actually eating that rice that he won.
自転車に乗ってご飯が食えるんだからな。幸せだな僕は。ね。
Slowly but surely, Nasubi was chipping away at that million yen goal, winning more and more prizes, such as a bicycle, which on the surface seems pretty useless since he couldn't take it outside, but he turned it into a stationary bike, and I'm sure that was like a good way of stimulating him, because what the fuck else are you gonna do? So he'd eat his watery rice while pedaling on the bicycle, and he started gathering more and more winnings. It started to look like my fucking dorm room from college, just a bicycle and all kinds of miscellaneous shit all over the place.
来ましたね、見事に。いやいや、やってみるもんですね。ほら。
お米の炊き方98年3月版ニューバージョンです。
やっちゃってるよこれ。もうトレビアン。
He also upgraded his whole cooking operation by using a pin and a can of sake. He was able to create a pretty efficient cooking apparatus, so he was able to make rice more efficiently. He was even able to cook spaghetti now. So he was really like climbing up the tech tree here by just being an absolute fucking genius. And it's also worth noting some of the more useless things he won, like the bicycle, wasn't entirely worthless because that helped increase the value of his winnings, bringing him closer to that million yen mark. So even if he couldn't get a ton of usage out of it directly, just having it in the room was beneficial because it gets him closer to being done with the challenge.
瞬間が訪れようとしている。しかし
Wait,
あ、でも
what?
ちょっと厳しいね。こんな
小さすぎた。
こんな感じになっちゃうね、ちょっとね。
Come
Now, it's been about
on.
2 months in this clip here, and according to Atrocity Guide, Nasubi submitted
Bro's been naked in that crib for 2 months. Yo.
5,748 sweepstakes entries in the first month. So you can imagine that he's right around that 11,000, 12,000 sweepstake entry ballpark, and he is just now winning his first article of clothing, which are used panties from someone named Hitomi-chan. I want to say I had no idea the used panty market spanned this far back in time. This is 1998. I thought soiled panties, used socks, and bath water were things women started selling within the last decade to take advantage of like internet sales. I had no idea that this was a popular market all the way back into the 90s. But anyway, Nasubi wins these panties. It's his only article of clothing he's won so far, but they don't fit, unfortunately.
名前つけてあげないとね、かわいそうだね。そうだ。ナスビのお友達でビーナス。ビーナスちゃんと
ナスビ、ビーナス連れて初めてのお散歩。
お散歩。
I found this one to be extraordinarily sad, so still around 2 months now. He's had no contact with any human beings aside from the delivery guy just dropping off his winnings. He wins a stuffed seal which he names Binasu and takes him for a walk. It's his only source of companionship. That shit just breaks my heart to see. I'm not gonna lie.
すげえ肉だ。5枚も肉。
貧乏芸人の日常生活においてステーキの4文字なんて想像だにしなかった。
肉をボールペンに刺して炙り始めた。5分後。
おいしそう。
ナスビにとって最高級の食べ物、ステーキを今まさに食べようとする瞬間。
This is his first time winning a direct source of protein. Up until this point, his diet was mainly just the rice and like spaghetti. So he'd be getting trace amounts of protein, but never something like steak. His macros had to be so fucked from this, but he finally gets steak, and he cooks it by using a ballpoint pin to cook it over the direct flame, and he gets to eat it and is super happy about it. I'd also like to highlight something in that note he wrote. He said, in the life of a poor comedian, he's only used the word steak in his imagination. I think this is big because prior to this challenge, Nasubi wasn't a popular comedian in Japan. He wasn't well off or anything like that. This was his big break, which is why he was so excited to be part of this show. And then he gets tortured. It's so fucking cruel. Like, you can't help but feel absolutely horrible for this guy.
当たった。
電車で電車で電車で電車でガッ。
さらに。
専用コントローラー好き。
運転手はナスビ、車掌はビーナスってな風に。
かな。
加熱しないで食べるつもりだ。
うん。全然いける。美味しい美味しい。うん。すべてヴィーナス君のおかげだ。
He wins a PlayStation game as well as a special controller for it, but he doesn't have a PlayStation or a TV to play it on. He then also wins raw pork and raw crab and eats it raw because he didn't really have an efficient way of cooking those. And you can see that he talks a lot to the stuffed seal. This is very much like a Castaway situation with Wilson. When you're deprived of human contact for as long as Nasubi has been, you start to try and find ways of being social. Humans are social creatures by nature, which is why it's so torturous to be deprived of that. It's fucking brutal. It's been right around 3 months by this point, and he is not even halfway done to the million yen goal.
掃除機です。
3ヶ月ぶりの掃除スタート。
テレビです。テレビ。
Wait for the game now.
1は映んねえのか。アップするよこれで。
そのものとは。
歯ブラシと歯磨きのセッ 当です。
He's able to win a vacuum cleaner, which enables him to clean the room for the first time in 3 months, and then wins a TV, which would have been great because he'd finally have some source of entertainment, but unfortunately, since there was no antenna, it was useless because it would only play static. And he still didn't have a PlayStation to like play the PlayStation game that he won. So the TV was just a source of fucking white noise, I suppose. And then he finally gets something really, really useful, which is a toothbrush and toothpaste, which lets him brush his teeth for the first time in 3 months.
白衣を着た人現る。
健康チェックに来ただけです。
全く問題ありません。なすびさんは健康であると認めます。
This is one component that I always see left out for all of the publications or videos that talk about the horror of the Nasubi story. They actually had a doctor come in and check up on him. The staff wanted to make sure that he wasn't like on the brink of death or that he hadn't contracted any like serious disease or anything. So they had a doctor come in, take his vitals, also did like a blood and urine test, or so they claim, and then gave him a clean bill of health. Now, assuming that that's all legitimate and not just, you know, theatrics for the television program, I would still say this doesn't take into account the actual torture this man is enduring. Like, even if his vitals are okay, he doesn't have a disease or any, like, big alarming health concerns. This is a man that has been deprived of sunlight, socialization, entertainment, and just basic human needs for 3 months by this point. So even if all of the blood work and all of that is within normal limits, this is a man who is still very much not okay. And to try and make it seem like, no, everything's great, Nasubi's happy, and this is a totally fine by the books thing, look, the doctor even says so, is even more scummy and shitty.
嫌なことに気づいてしまった。命の源お米が米袋の底に溜まってる程度になってしまってる。
ついに今日で最後か。これが最後のお米です。はい、ドッグフードです。
Oh my god. They gave this dude fucking dog food. I forgot about that. Aaron, you still here? Or anybody? Oh my god.
すると。
まずい。
ドッグフードです。
Somehow, the story keeps getting more tragic. The rice that he won on the 20th day was finally running out, and he was unable to win any more during this time, so he resorted to eating dog food. And dog food became the primary thing that he was eating. It was like his main diet. So he was surviving off dog food. And another thing that I've seen brought up a few times that I also question is the legitimacy of, like, what shows up. Because it would have been very easy for producers to intercept things that Nasubi had won if they were too helpful. Like, I find it very odd that the only thing Nasubi won in terms of clothing throughout all 15 months was a pair of panties. That seems so unrealistic. I really think there may have been foul play, and this is just a conspiracy, where the producers intercepted clothes in order to keep him naked for the sake of the comedy of the show. And I think that there could have been a lot of cases like that. There's also nothing that would have stopped them from sending things he didn't win, like dog food. He may have never, like, entered a dog food sweepstakes, and they could have sent it to him in order to further humiliate and torture him for the audience. There's just so much shit in here that is beyond cruel and unusual. Like, it blows my mind that this is something that actually happened to a real human being.
神よ、我に生きる力を与えきり、米です。じゃんじゃんじゃん。米はだって。
Luckily, he was able to win rice 3 months later. He won 10 kilograms of rice about 3-ish months after mainly surviving off dog food, as well as a couple of other foods that he'd win here and there. But dog food for a while was like his primary source of nutrition. And then he finally gets rice again. Now, it's been about 6 months-ish, and he is finally halfway to the goal. In 6 months, he reaches the halfway point. According to Atrocity Guide, he has submitted 38,000 entries by this point. 38,000 sweepstakes entries in 6 months, and he is only halfway to the goal.
この時ナスビは思った。
終わりですか。100万いったんですか。いってない。意味がわからないんですけど、全然。うわー、車やった、動いてる動いてる。これはまあ全部揃ってるというか、引っ越しっていうことなんですか。
Just when you thought it couldn't get more fucked up. So what happened here is this show was so popular, people eventually found out where Nasubi was